On this video, we're going to break down Nvidia stock, which trades under ticker symbol NVDA. The first thing we need to talk about is Paul Pelosi, who sold out of Nvidia stock. There was a lot of scrutiny that the Pelosi family has been doing insider trading. As a result, they sold out Nvidia stock to make it seem like, hey, we're just getting out of a position, no need to worry about insider trading. However, we got news now that there's going to be US sanctions against certain chips in China, and as a result, Nvidia stock has dropped tremendously. Maybe they had insider information, maybe they sold with this information to protect their gains or whatever position they had, who knows. However, it does seem very fishy. Now let's dive into Nvidia stock as a whole, as a company, and as a trading or an investment position. The first thing we need to do is we need to break down the sequence of events that got us to where we're at today. So before earnings, Nvidia came out with preliminary earnings because they knew that the numbers were going to be very, very bad, that they wanted to prepare the market for those bad numbers. This gave analysts some time to revisit their estimates and guide them down if they wanted to, and help ease the blow of actual earnings. We then got earnings and guidance, and actually the stock rallied off of those numbers but then sold off because of these sanctions. Nvidia came out with guidance for the next quarter revenue of $5.9 billion. Now this was much lower than the expected revenue of $6.92 billion. Now it's important to understand why we're seeing such a big drop in revenue for Nvidia, and it's because of weakness in gaming and PC. A lot of sales were pulled forward because of the pandemic. A lot of people were buying PCs, a lot of people were buying graphics cards, and those graphics cards or GPUs were also used to mine Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency. So Nvidia was seeing an increase in sales from the pandemic and also from the boom in crypto. However, on the flip side, Nvidia was seeing strength in their auto business and in their data centers, both of which were showing still very strong year-over-year growth numbers. And that's exactly why the most recent news regarding these sanctions was received so poorly and we saw such a big drop in Nvidia stock. And that's because since data centers are helping pick up the slack of gaming and PCs, this news directly hits data centers numbers, and that's going to be a drag on the overall revenue for Nvidia. Now, Nvidia came out and said that these sanctions could hit revenue up to $400 million. A $400 million drop in revenue might not sound like a lot when the company's making billions of dollars. However, it's not the number, it's the year-over-year growth that you need to be looking at, because Nvidia is trading at a 40 price to earnings ratio forward looking. So the stock itself is definitely pricing in growth. So it becomes very fragile when you see numbers like this hit on revenue and you actually start seeing revenue decline. So in a nutshell, the latest news regarding Nvidia stock has just been awful, and the stock has been pounded. But sometimes following news like this and a huge drop in the stock, those might be the best times to actually start buying into a stock. You want to buy when people are fearful, and you want to sell when people are greedy. However, we want to take a look at the technicals to try to identify a key level of entry, or if right now is actually a good time to buy the stock. How much downside potential is there? How much upside potential is there? Is the risk worth the reward for Nvidia stock right now? If you've been holding the position for a long time, then it doesn't matter what the price is today. But if you're looking to get into a position, regardless if it's a trade or a long-term investment, price today does matter. So with that being said, let's hop on over to the computers and dive into the technicals.
So first and foremost, if we take a look at the yearly, so this is the 1 year, 1 day chart. And let's just make sure that we're zoomed out as far as we can be. We can see a steep decline in the stock going from around $285 down to what it's currently at $136. If we're looking for a potential bounce, what are some key levels that we want to keep in mind? Well, if we zoom in here on the daily chart, we can see that there is a gap that eventually will be filled, and that upper end of that gap's at $150. So that would be the short-term price point for Nvidia on a bounce to try to retest that gap and get it filled. But if we zoom out and we take a bigger picture look at Nvidia, where would a good price point be? And for me personally, I'm looking at this point right here, which is $195. It was support back here on October 2021. It was resistance here in May of 2022. Again, resistance in June of 2022. And then we have this double peak here, which is close enough, which was resistance in August of 2022. So we have two price points, the first one being $150 and the second one being $195. That is our potential reward for right now in a trade. Let's look at our potential downside. So because Nvidia currently is trading at year-to-date lows, we need to zoom out on the charts. But we need to keep something in mind. The fact that we have dropped so fast, so quickly, we need to consider the possibility of a consolidation range and then further dropping, because that's typically what happens when stocks hit a support so quickly and so ferociously. For instance, if we zoom here, we can see what happened. We had a couple times where we had gaps that were never filled, then we consolidated just to break down even more. That's because we hit a support here at around $210. We consolidated, eventually we broke that support and moved lower. And that's what the odds are going to happen with Nvidia, but we need to determine what the next support is. To make this a little bit easier for you, I'm just going to do it on one chart, and we're just going to look at the weekly chart. We'll go to 5-year weekly. So I've identified two key levels here. The first one being $135, which is where we bounced here before we made that major move up. So right here at this point right here, we had that major move up. Then we have a couple supports here, these two weekly candles, and then this grouping right here at around $123. Now, if we go back to our flexible grid and we look at what happened with the stock over the last 5 days, 15 minutes, here's our white line, our support. We broke just below it, but let's just say that this is our support, because support lines are not actual price points, but they're areas, they're ranges. And we hit that range and we bounce, and now we're consolidating. So with that being said, the next level of support, the next level down, is right here at around $123, which would imply that we have around 11% more to fall in Nvidia stock before we get to our next level of support. Now, it is my personal opinion that that's going to be the best point to buy Nvidia. But below that, there is more risk, and we need to talk about it. As we can see by this chart, we had this huge grouping that occurred back in August of 2020. And basically, we broke out of that in May of 2021. So just slightly under a year, we were trading in this consolidation range. And that's why it's such strong support, because we have a ton of price history in that range. But if for any reason we dip below there, where's our next support? And it's not all the way down to here at $70 or around $73, where we have this resistance, and then this support where we bounced off of it. So as you can see by this weekly chart, there's a huge range here of potential downside. And that's why it's very important that $123, $125 holds. So let's break down this trade. We can get into a trade right now hoping for a bounce to $150. Our downside is this level right here at $125. If Nvidia stock breaks below that level, that support, we cut our losses and we look to re-enter when we get around $70. Or we can wait till we get this level, which I think it's going to actually come. We get into a position there, we have a little bit more protection. We'll put a stop loss at around $115, let's say, and we can get into this trade, and hopefully we don't get stopped out. The other way you can play this is you can get into Nvidia now, and you can have some downside protection via options. You can do put options, or you can sell cash secured puts, or you can buy the stock and sell covered calls as a way to hedge your bet. Now, just to repeat, it is my personal opinion, given the velocity of this move downwards, that we are not going to hold at $135 and we are going to test $125. So me personally, I'm going to wait for that. But this is what I'm seeing on the technicals for Nvidia.
Now, two things before we sign off. One, Webull is currently running a stellar promotion right now that if you use the link down below in the video description, you can get 12 free stocks valued up to, watch this, $30,600. Crazy promotion that is going to expire at the end of September. If you deposit $100, we will be rewarded, and I highly appreciate it. And the next thing is you want to get into live trades, like the trade that we had this week, which was a 10x on Apple stock. You can do so by joining the Patreon. It is super cheap, probably the cheapest Discord out there that you're going to find at only $5 a month. It's live trade alerts, it's watch lists, it's stock market news and updates, and it's a community of investors and traders, like-minded individuals Invincibles, where we make money together, we learn together, and we grow together. Link to the Patreon is down below. That's how you get access to the private Discord. Outside of that, I'll catch you on the next video. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. And this is We Are Investing, and together we are invincible. See ya.